Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Marcus Thornton Manifesto. I am Marcus Thornton, and today I just want to talk about why. Why am I doing this? I started off not having a full idea of why, but the more I've reflected and actually thought about it, I believe that it's because I do a lot of writing, I do a lot of listening, I do a lot of thinking and reading, but I don't do a lot of talking about some of the topics that I hope to touch on throughout the course of creating this podcast. And for me, I believe that the processing for all of the things I've gone through in life, which some of you, if you know me, you know that that's quite an extensive list. If you don't know me, which I imagine many of you don't, we'll go through these things, and I feel like I have my best processing and my biggest breakthroughs when I have conversations with people, not only about my own stuff, but about the things that they've gone through, how they've handled things, trial and error, which I believe is such a huge tool, which is fading away in the younger generation. People are afraid to try because they're afraid to fail. And, we can go into the reasons for that at some point. But I believe that the main reason why I want to do this is so that I can have another layer of my own processing. And I hope that in doing so, I grow as an individual, because my next layer of why I'm doing this is so that I can help others not to make the same mistakes as me, or to help people along a journey that they're on that they're not very confident about, which, frankly, if we're on a journey that we're not confident about, it means one of two things. It means that we're either just simply not prepared, so that we're scared. We don't have the confidence to pursue the path because we've not prepared enough for the path. And it could also mean that we're on the proper path, and that we care. Having a bit of trepidation about why we're doing things and how we're doing things and what's going to happen on the other side of certain things means that we really care about what's happening. And to care about something, to have a deep sense of meaning and purpose for a chosen goal, I think is one of the greatest parts of being a human. I feel like if we're constantly going through life, just going through the motions, doing what's expected of us, doing what we're told from others' perspectives, there is a piece of our humanity that drifts away. And without tapping into it, all we do is set ourselves up for a life that's not fully lived. I don't remember who said it. I think it was Oscar Wilde, maybe, not 100% sure. But he said, the individual said, many men are alive, but not many men live, or something along those lines. I'm sure I butchered that, but I think that's accurate, especially in today's culture. We're so inundated with hits of dopamine, with endless scrolling, endless distractions. It doesn't even have to be scrolling on social media. It can just be anything that distracts us. Driving in traffic and I'm looking over at somebody's shirt, and I'm comparing my shirt to their shirt, that social comparison, which Mark Manson's talked about this extensively. It is a necessary part of our human evolution, but we take it to the extreme because we don't have, as a collective, we don't have a sense of purpose and meaning. So we seek it in pleasure or superficial endeavors. So I'm hoping that not only will this experience give me more processing for my own stuff, but it will help me to give others the space to think more deeply about their chosen path in life, and perhaps even more so about the path that they're on in life that they haven't chosen. So for a long time, I was on a path that I believed was my own. However, I've come to realize now in my late 30s that a lot of the routes that I took on that path weren't really consciously chosen. They were not chosen for me per se, but they were paths that I believed others wanted me to be on. And so I went down them. And the military was definitely one route, which I have no regrets about doing that. And that's due to a lot of processing. There for a while I did have regrets, especially given I was in Iraq in 06 and 07, and now it's coming to my attention, and through research and just consideration of other people's perspectives on it, that war was not in the best interests of our country, of our bottom line, of the country of Iraq, of a lot of different things. So even in light of all of that, I still have no regrets about my military service. But that being said, I signed up at a very young age, and it was immediately after 9/11. So I was very influenced by externals, and what kid isn't? So that path was not 100% conscious. And I could say the same about my first marriage. It was just the thing that we were expected to do, right? The things that society tells us you are supposed to do. You're supposed to get a job at an office and make all of the money and marry the girl and build the house and have the kids, and you're supposed to do it now on society's timeline, on the timeline of our elders. And that's simply not the case. And there's evidence of that in my marriage, and that it failed miserably, which I actually wouldn't call much of a failure now, because it's just a part of the journey I've been on, which has gotten me to where I am now, which I'm very thankful for. I've gone through so many things: homelessness, addiction, bad decisions, life changes, risky behaviors, too many to count, that I was unable to learn any lessons from those things in the moment. I like to say to people, if you're down inside the jar, it's impossible to read the label. It's only after the fact that we can actively reflect and learn from the things that we've been through, from the things that others have been through, from the conversations we have, with gratitude and with a disconnection, a detachment that allows objective observance of the situation. We need to be removed from a situation so that we don't allow our emotions and our biases to cloud the lessons that could be learned. So I'm hoping, and I'm actually very confident now that I've sat and ran my mouth for 8.5 minutes, I'm fairly confident that now this is the path I need to be on. Yes, so that I can help others. Yes, it'd be great to make some money off of this one day, I won't lie. But I think mainly it's so that I can just become a better version of myself for my wife, my children, anyone who comes after me, anyone who interacts with me. Because I've heard Tucker Carlson say recently that there's really only two things that we need to do in life. That is to love those around us, the ones that we have firsthand contact with, which is our family, our colleagues, the waitress at the restaurant, right? Anyone that we come face to face with, we need to have loving interactions with those individuals, but then also to simply tell the truth. And as Jordan Peterson adds to that, or at least don't lie. And I spent a lot of time lying to myself. And that got me on a path that was essentially me white-knuckling life. Every time that I would lay off of substances, it would be extremely difficult for me to stay on that path, and it was only a matter of time before I returned, because I was refusing. I was clenching my eyes shut, willfully, with extreme vigor. I think if there's anything I've committed my life to, I've actually been obsessively committed to for the longest periods of time, it's been ignoring what's brewing under the surface. So I'm hoping that these conversations with myself and with others will be helpful in forcing myself to uncover the things that I've stuffed down. And in doing so, I hope that recording the conversations and then distributing them out to the one or two people that decide they want to listen, that they might get some benefit and value from it. So if you've listened this far, if you've listened to me ramble, unscripted, this is no script for this one. Just decided to try this and see what happens. If you've listened to me do this for 11 minutes now, I appreciate you. You can find my writing on Substack. You can find the podcast, obviously, where you are now. And if you're anywhere else, it's out there. It's on YouTube. It's on Spotify. It's on Substack. And thank you. Godspeed.